In life, you'll realize that a lot of people do a few different things, and when you are aware of it and you read the room and you read body language, you'll realize that most of the time people do these things because they are intimidated by you. You may not be doing anything on purpose, or you may not try to intimidate people, but it just works out like that in life. So I'm gonna give you a few examples on how you could tell if somebody's intimidated by you. Now, me, I always speak from experience, and you guys know I can't just run my mouth to this camera off something I made up. It's about something I've actually been through. So for me, first thing I've realized is I am a big dude. I'm not the biggest man in the world, and I don't care to be. I'm not that egocentric, right? I'm not intimidated by anybody, but I give everybody respect, and I show everybody love, actually. Oftentimes, some people say I'm a little bit too nice, but I know what that is. They just want me to be a certain way based on how I look. So with that being said, when I'm around certain guys and they may have their lady around, oftentimes guys do the most. They tense up, they hug their girl, they grab her butt, they give her a kiss. They do little sexual things out in public that they probably necessarily wouldn't do if I was there. And sometimes, yeah, women, they do look at other men while they're with their man. And I'm not saying that's good, but it happens. And from my experience, men are often intimidated by this because instead of getting under a woman, they'll look at you with the side eye. They'll look at you like it's your fault, like, oh, you trying to take my girl. And you're not necessarily doing anything. You're probably just in the store, you out and about, just like they are. You just so happen to be by yourself. He happens to be with his girl, his wife, his woman, whoever. She so happened to be staring at you. He catch her. Now he's doing little things to basically try to remove you from thinking you can have access to her when you wasn't even thinking that in the first place. Me personally, I don't like to do the whole, I see somebody with their girl, I want to go be the bigger man and try to take this man's woman, or try to engage with her, or smile at her, or stare back like I'm trying to give her a sign or a signal that she can come over here and we can communicate and see what's up. That's not me personally. I've never even spoken to my friend's girl. I'm not even friendly with my friends' girls, their wives, their girlfriend. It doesn't matter who it is. And you can ask any of my friends that I've been around my entire life. I've never backdoored, never tried to talk to their girlfriend, whether they was with them or they broke up years later. It was none of that going on. And it never will be, because I look at it like this. Once my friends have touched a woman, that's just something I can't do. I can't touch it. It's just like, you off limits. I don't care how beautiful you are, you're off limits. But men will do this when they're kind of like intimidated by you, or intimidated about a situation, being that their woman is looking at you. Now, the second thing I notice is, now I'm not saying I'm an ugly guy, but I don't think I'm the best looking guy, right? But I am tall, I do work out a lot, I do have a physique, I do practice boxing, I do a lot of cardio, I do a lot of high intensity training. So my presence, my aura, my body structure, I notice a lot of people will change how they are when I'm in a room. Let's say in the workplace. Everybody's laughing, joking, having fun, talking. The moment I walk into like the break room setting, I notice guys will get quiet. And then when they talk, they'll try to, put a deep voice on, or they'll try to stare at me, like eye contact, like let's have a staring competition or something. And I usually just brush to the side because, like I said, I'm not really trying to intimidate or trying to show my dominance. It's just, I look like this. I can't help that God made me like this. If I'm an ugly person to you, hey, everybody got their own perspective. Everybody has their preference. This goes for women too. Sometimes women may be intimidated by you because you're too big, or you're too muscular, or you're black and you don't look like you're soft enough, or you're just not sensitive enough. They think you're just hardcore. You're probably gonna, sad to say, but they probably think you'll put your hands on them, you'll beat them up, you'll hurt them, you'll do something dangerous to them. And that's unfortunate, because me, I don't believe in putting my hands on women at all, whatsoever. I'm not with any of that at all. But a woman doesn't know your intentions, right, until she gets to know you. So I noticed that in work environments that men would change how they are with me versus everybody else. Everybody gets love, high fives. ask you how your day going, did you watch a football game or whatever it is, did you watch sports or whatever it is. And when I come around, it's just no talk. In fact, if it's like a manager or someone, I had this happen to me at a job. It's like this guy always came to me to do all the work, but he would go to all the other employees and he would just sit there and have friendly conversations with them. And let's say I was the type of person that I didn't let it get to me, right? But I'm the type of person that, okay, I see this and it's like, well, maybe he think he can't have a friendly conversation with me. So I'll engage, like, hey man, you know, how was your weekend? They didn't really respond with that open for discussion response. It was more like, I'm not interested. But hey, go move that pallet over there to this side of the warehouse. Go make sure you go to aisle 5 and pick these 80 items. I remember one time, man, I was getting ready to clock out, and my manager, he was doing this for about 2-3 months, and I really needed a job at the time, you know what I'm saying? This was way back, and this was the job where I was making $700 every 2 weeks, but I really needed this job, and I was working on getting myself out of this environment. But anyway, this guy wasn't really the friendly type. Like, he would do it if it was convenient. You know, if he was around other people that looked like him, he was a white dude. If he was around other people that looked like him, he would act like we were best friends. But when those particular guys wasn't around, it was none of that. That was the only time he would act like we was cool. These were his higher ups, so obviously he was doing it to paint a picture. But as soon as those gentlemen wasn't around, it was like, go do this, go do that. I remember I was about to clock out. I was basically doing overtime already. Man, it was like 2 hours of overtime, and I had just been told by one of the leads, yeah, Matthew, you done with this? You can leave. Guy walks out of his office, hey, I need you to go pick these 80 items. It would have taken me like another 2-3 hours, man. All sofas, recliners, heavy sofas, heavy recliners. You can only put 2 or 3 on the cart at a time on the forklift, and I had like 80 plus items, and he wanted me to pick it. Meanwhile, somebody had just came in 3 hours prior, and they could have spent the rest of the day, or at least the next 3 hours doing that, before and after lunch. But he gave it to me, and it's just intimidation. If women in the workplace would talk to me, he would say, hey, you guys need to stop talking and get back to work. But if it was other men talking to those women, he didn't mind. If he was talking to those women, obviously it was all free game. He could do it as long as he want, right? So it's just certain things you pick up on. Another reason how you will realize somebody's intimidated by you is they'll talk about you when you're not around. Out of for no reason. You didn't do anything, you didn't say anything. They would just spark a conversation with somebody else and they'll talk about you. And it's messed up because these same people that they're talking to you about, they'll come back and tell you. And it's like, man, you should have just told him not to talk about me. But you probably sat there and engaged, even though you coming to tell me that he was talking about me or she was talking about me. You sat there and you entertained it, right? So it's just more like it usually happens in a work environment a lot. But people do this anywhere. They'll talk about you. They'll point at something they don't like about you. It's just your presence. They don't like anything about you. They don't like that. You're 6'4" or 6 foot or 5'8" and they're 5'5". Something that you had no control over, right? It's just genetics. You were just born this way. You could have been on the other side of the spectrum, just like they could have been on the other side of the spectrum. But it's not fair, right? They're intimidated by you. They also will be intimidated by you if it's a position available. They think you're going to take their shine. They think you're somebody who's highly capable, or they can see that you're highly capable. They will try to throw shade, throw you under the bus. They'll tell lies about you. They'll make up stories and spread it around the work environment. This happened to me as well. I almost got in trouble for something that I particularly didn't do. Somebody was at the workplace at the warehouse, and they were selling weed. So, here comes the stereotypes. Out of nowhere, the whole warehouse just started to say, hey, they're gonna come and check you, ask you questions, and check your locker room because somebody said that you was the one that was selling weed in here, and they smelled weed, and it had to be you because people saw you walk to your car at lunch. And mind you, nobody was really cool with me like that. And I wasn't friendly to the point where I was kissing ass, but once I realized nobody was really cool with me like that because obviously everybody was somewhat intimidated, even though I was a cool dude. And I'm telling you guys, I didn't do anything to nobody. From day one at this place, I was always like, hey, what's up? What's going on, bro? How you doing? And then I started to read, like, people didn't really want you to say hi to them. They didn't want to dap you up. Man, people didn't even want to shake my hand. So I just stayed my ground, stayed firm. I came here to work, not make friends anyway. So I stayed to myself. All of a sudden they use that as a negative. Meanwhile, the person who was telling everybody it was me selling weed, they were the ones that was actually selling weed. But they had to paint that picture, right? This is what people do. They try to do anything to get you out of the way because they can sense or they can feel that you being capable, your capabilities, your presence, it's intimidating. It's not necessarily a fight thing. It's just more of a, I don't want him to be in competition of something. I don't want this person to be around because they have too much going on. You know what I mean? I don't like their mindset. I don't like that they have this drive or this confidence to do this, and I can achieve that, and I can take on this task and also take on that task and also move forward doing this thing. It's like people are going to be intimidated by everything. And this particular person got me called to the office. They wanted to check my locker room, and I told them, like, yeah, you know, I ain't got nothing to hide. Let's go check it. But at the end of the day, it's like, I also don't appreciate that this person is, whoever this person is at the time, because I didn't know, I don't appreciate that these rumors are being spread because I'm not selling weed. I don't even smoke weed. At the time, I was not smoking weed. Have I smoked weed before? Yeah. But at that time, I wasn't smoking weed, and I definitely was not selling weed. So anyway, I let them check my locker room. They found nothing. And we went back, and I told them, like, you know, I need to really be left alone. Like, I need these rumors to stop. I need these stories to stop. I'm not going to quit because y'all trying to bully me. But it needs to stop, man, because it ain't fair. And it's wrong, and y'all know it. If y'all intimidated, just say it. Nothing happened. The person got in trouble because they got caught, but I didn't get no respect or anything. As a matter of fact, it was more of a, now people started to say things like, yeah, man, you know, you're just intimidating, bro. Like, you're tall, you're big, people are intimidated by you. And it's just like, but I've done nothing to you guys. And that's the bad part. It's a double-edged sword. Some people will respect you because they're intimidated by you, but some people will try to get you in trouble because they're intimidated by you. Just like being attractive. That's for another video. You could be highly attractive. Some women will like you, want to be with you, and then some women will play you just because you're the attractive guy, or they will not be encouraged to talk to you because they automatically think you're a player, right? Because you look good. You have something that they like, and they know other women like this. Like they say, women understand women and they hate each other, so men need to stop trying to understand women, right? But that's another video. But it's the same thing with being intimidated. It's a double-edged sword. And you guys just have to be careful because it's life. It's something that you just cannot control. People are going to do this. They've always done it in human history, and it's not going to go anywhere. And another thing, probably the final thing, is your mindset. If you're the type of person that work 2-3 jobs, you're hustling, let's say you have debt to pay off, always talk about this, you got your priorities lined up, even if you made a lot of mistakes in the past, you're confident and you're aware and you're man enough to allow yourself to make mistakes, but you're also learning from those mistakes and you're fixing your issues. A lot of people are not going to like your mindset. They're going to be intimidated by that. Yeah, man, I'm working an extra job because I'm trying to pay off debt. Pay off debt? Why are you trying to pay off debt? That's stupid. Then they go and they start to just gaslight you. Oh, you think you better than us. Oh, what are you trying to do? You're trying to go buy a house and you're trying to be 20-some years old and own a property. Of course. You're trying to be rich by your 35, 40. Of course. Or you think you're going to be in a 1%. Of course. I may not get there, but the mindset, they don't like your mindset. People are going to be intimidated by your mindset. And these are things you just cannot control, guys. Only thing you can control is what you do. That's the only thing you can control. What you respond to, not what you've been called. Not really how you're being treated, verbally, mentally. Now, physically, that's a totally different story. Always defend yourself. But when people talk, most of the time, man, you just have to ignore it because it's all talk. Talk is cheap. That's why they say talk is cheap. Action is everything. Because you can talk, anything can sound good. You know, even bullshitters make things sound great. And I know YouTube gonna get me for cursing. But anything sounds good. Anything can sound great. But it's a totally different story when you're actually doing something that's great. So, through all these things that can expose you to people being intimidated by you, I want y'all to just remember one thing. It's still up to you to put the work in. It's still up to you to chase your goals. It's still up to you to be you. Do not dumb down to be anybody else for anybody. And most situations don't even engage. Once somebody show you how they are because they're intimidated, try to put yourself in a position to where it's like it's no contact or it's little to no contact. It's the least amount of contact as possible, especially in a work environment, because you don't have to be friends. You may have to work together and respect each other, but you don't have to be friends. Respect can just mean I work here, you work there. If you need something over here, you can ask and put it back. And the same thing goes for me. You know, like, it's ways you do things without it having to be a conflict. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be chaos. So it's like, don't change who you are, be who you are, but understand your environment, because people will go out of their way to try to ruin you because they're intimidated about everything about you. Like every other video, I don't want to carry it out too long. Those are the things that I realize people do when they're intimidated by you. And it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody can do this work for us, guys. We're going to keep getting better. We're going to keep putting that work in. And we're going to do the hard things because we know it's going to make life easy.